Len Procetta come on up and introduce our first speaker. Len?
Thank you. Thank you. I had the pleasure of meeting Drew and working with him. We communicated back and forth through email. We met in person, and I feel like I've known him for years. I really like his story, and I'm glad I got to work with him. So a little bit about Drew. Drew is a United States Army veteran. In 2005, he was wounded in Iraq and retired from the Army due to trauma, brain trauma, and physical injuries. When Drew was cleared to resume strenuous physical activity, he started CrossFit training. And in 6 months, he became a fitness coach training soldiers for years. At some point, Drew went to college and became a certified occupational therapist assistant. Drew now owns a fitness center in Sunbury, PA called Iron Fit. I asked Drew, when he gets out of bed in the morning, and I ask a lot of my clients and friends this question, I asked Drew when he gets out of bed in the morning, why he gets out of bed in the morning. And what Drew said was, I wake up each day motivated to make a positive difference in someone's life and to be a good Christian man. I'll let Drew tell you the rest. Drew,
hello. I'm going to try not to look at my phone. That's a lie. I'm going to just read from it. Hi, I'm Drew. So I'll just give you my elevator speech. I don't know if I'm supposed to announce that. All right. Iron Fit Sunbury strives to treat everybody like an individual while providing a comprehensive strategy to improve their health and fitness, regardless of where they are. We're dedicated to building a community of similarly minded people with common goals to improve their lives, just overall life improvement. The results are that our members experience measurable results in less time with less frustration. So that's it. So I guess we'll just start. Oh, this is the thing. Okay, thanks. That's not my good side. I hope you guys know that. Right. So I'm owner-operator. I had about 12 years active Army, 3 years inactive, 3 years inactive after I got wounded in Iraq. During that time, I really got really good at team building and motivating people and getting people to do things. I mean, in the military, the type of job that I had is like, you just have to buckle down and do it, right? And mission accomplishment comes through just getting after it and knowing that, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what you believe you can do. Like, we can all see what you can do. So, like, if I believe in you, you can believe in yourself. Just instilling that belief in somebody. I know I'm kind of stumbling here. I went to school. So after I was wounded, I actually had some really good occupational and physical therapists, but I connected really well with my occupational therapy people, and they really inspired me to do something better for other people. I've always, my whole life, I've just been wanting to help people. You know, for whatever reason, that's just always been kind of my goal, something that I had in my heart. So getting there and understanding what my role would be to be able to accomplish that, I wasn't really quite sure. But I got hurt. I really connected with my OTs. When I started training, I actually started going to school for occupational therapy assistant. I went to school a little bit before that, but that's where I ended up. And like, my goal was to work with veterans, and then that just didn't end up happening. But I work with an older population now, and you run into some veterans and stuff, and everybody has those same kind of basic needs, and building that common ground with people and getting them to buy in, even if it's therapy. That's kind of how I look at my gym. It's like proactive therapy. So I've been training people from, well, I train kids, but I train guys in the Army in very, very difficult things and very strenuous situations for years. So I know that hard approach, and I also know that kind of softer approach, that more personal touch that you have to put on stuff, because people have to believe that you care about them before they really buy into what you're doing. And it's genuine here. It's not like, we believe in you, now go, like, there's an actual genuine belief, okay? So yeah, I mean, I train kids. I have a really strong connection with kids. I just always have. My kids don't like that their friends like me better than they like them, you know, because I'm like that guy. So, yeah, so I have that, and I attach to people, and I just connect with people at their own level. And I think that doing that, the training and physical stuff, my training actually, I've been to school for occupational therapy, obviously, and I've done multiple certifications for people with physical dysfunction, so adaptive athlete courses and stuff. And I think it's valuable to know that, because I'm not afraid to train everybody. Everybody that comes in is a person, and they're an athlete no matter what, right? If they're in a wheelchair and they can't move their legs, or they don't have a leg or don't have an arm, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I think that's okay. Here's our goal. We gain strength, increase endurance, overcome injury, and that's all kind of given, right? You can do that at Planet Fitness if you know what you're doing. If you don't, you just don't know how. But with all of that, you gain an improved self-image, and I believe that you gain this this attachment to yourself. Like, you understand what you're capable of, and like, you walk in and your brain's telling you, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, and then you walk out and go, I just did it, right? And then you're with other people that are in the same boat. They're deconditioned, they're missing a limb, they're having the same difficulties as you are, no matter if they're in a wheelchair or if they're a kid or whatever. Like, none of it matters. What matters is that we're all there for like the same kind of purpose, and you build kind of some camaraderie there, and you walk out feeling like really good about yourself, right? Where are we at? Okay, so here's kind of my story. I've been in business for a little bit longer than, I'm not just 2 years in my current location. I took over an existing business that the guys in CrossFit Lewisburg started, and you know, I was there. I had a built-in kind of client base that I had been training from day one when we started there. I decided to kind of, you know, jump out the door, grab my parachute and jump out the door, and I went out on my own and found a new spot. I was open there for about a year, and then all the lockdowns and everything happened. They shut all the local gyms down and stuff. So that caused me to have some difficulties there, because you're still required to like pay all the fees and do all that stuff. So anyway, I started back up after that, just really strong, kind of right back where I started from. And there was a short sale on the building that I was renting, and the owner said, "Hey, you have 2 weeks to get out." So, well, okay then. So I was on the hunt for another location, and that didn't really flesh itself out. I was closed for about 5 months, and was looking around and found a guy who owned buildings in Sunbury, and he showed me the warehouse that I'm in now, and I said, that's the one. So I went through all the steps, did all the reason, what is it? It's not rezoning, it's whatever that word is. So you had to change the type of business. So I did all that, got all the construction, got approved, got all that stuff going, and I've been there ever since. Now, yeah, I think I kind of went through all this stuff. Oh, the variance, that's the word I was looking for. All right, so I did all the variance and all that stuff there, and I had 4 or 5 athletes come from Danville. I was about 50 customers strong in Danville. I had a 25 strong, like person strong group of kids that used to come and train regularly with me in my kids program, and then I had about 25, 30 adults that were kind of getting after it with me every day. So that didn't really translate over to where I'm at. If it's not in your routine, I 100% get that. Like, if it's not within that 15-minute, like if I can't build it into my day, I'm not going to do it. I'm the same guy. So I understand that. So where I'm at now, it's kind of tucked away. We have signs out, like all those things are happening. The product is still really good. I'm really good at what I do, and I really care about people and all that. It's just me kind of getting to the point where I'm like, hey, this is me. I want to get myself out there and just really start to make a difference. Because if I'm doing a job for 1 or 2 people, that's okay. But if we can get more people involved, and then they subsequently can bring people in, or even go out on their own and do something useful for other people, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. So my short-term goals Oh, okay, so we have people that are working, so some of those things are, some of those athletes that are coming in, they're like short-term goal kind of people. I know I'm jumping around. Short-term goal people, I have people that are getting ready for their 50th birthday, they want to look a certain way, getting ready for their wedding and look a certain way, and all those things. So that ends up being, and they buy in and really get the results that they want, and that's a really useful thing. I am available to train adaptive athletes, and I have an existing program that I only run once a year. It's a 12-week program. It's called Team CJ for Autism. They're out of Lewisburg, and they came to me 4 years ago and asked me to train, their autistic kids, and they're up and down the spectrum. And I said, absolutely, like with open arms. Like, I'm not afraid of any of that stuff, right? If I don't know it, I'll study it. Like, I'll figure that stuff out, right? Everybody deserves to have hope. Everybody deserves to feel like, okay, I'm physically sound, and physically sound can lead to like more mentally sound, right? So, yeah. So that's kind of my thing here. Here's my dream. This is my small dream. I'd love to be a full-time business. I am very community-centered. I try to reach out. I reached out to the people at the ARC and tried to get, I had like a little speech with them and talked to them about bringing their athletes in, because some of those caregivers and parents are saying, I don't have any options. These programs close, or nobody's willing to take the risk of like having these people in there. So, well, I am. Like, you come in here and you just be part of our community. And I like to have like typical athletes alongside with other athletes that are less challenged, right, or differently challenged, right? So it's multi-generational. I used to have a lady that was 89 years old. She used to come in, and I'd say, well, we're going to do this. She goes, well, I'm not doing that. So, okay, well, we'll change it, so we'll find something else you can do, right? Everything is like scalable. I do a different version than what everybody else does, and it looks big and scary on the outside, but you start to like gain ability and gain some belief in yourself. Yep, I like to work with veterans. I have a few now. Like I said, I worked with some seniors, and then any kind of adaptive athlete. That's my big dream. My current challenge is this, lack of visibility. Like when I moved out of being an affiliate for CrossFit, I lost the name recognition. People search CrossFit, they go, oh, well, there's my local CrossFit gym. That doesn't matter to me. I want to provide my good service. Like I'm a little different than what CrossFit is. So I lost the name recognition. I'm a little bit more tucked away. Sunbury's, the road that I'm on is not super well traveled. I don't go out there. I don't have the ability to kind of get my name out there yet until now. Yep, my name recognition. So a lot of people, I don't have like that full-time hospital staff that like used to stock those morning classes. They're like, we got to go and get it in. And some of the younger crowd that were into that functional fitness kind of thing. So that just kind of dried up, and I had some members, but nowhere near what I had. So that's a struggle for me. So I had the limited resource. I had, obviously, with less members, I have less resources to grow my business. So that's another challenge for me. Yeah, where are we at? What am I doing?
Drew, I think we're at the time where
Is
we're
that
going to ask everyone to
I'm sorry. I ran on.
All right, thank you, Drew.
Thank
All right, so 2 quick notes. Megan and Marianne, you have these neat microphone boxes right in front of you. If you're willing to start out with a question, jump right in. But if not, pass those around to make sure that Jason and our video can hear your questions. Marianne, if you would turn. We're going to go until 9:33, and then we'll introduce our next speaker. So questions, feedback, especially responding to what Drew is asking for.
Yeah, so you're looking to build your client base in this new location, this new area. So where have you connected with potential clients already? I think you mentioned like the ARC, but have you connected with like Evangelical up the road or any of the counseling services in the area?
No. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really know what I don't know. I'm the guy that does the thing in the room. So like me being out here and finding those people, the Team CJ's found me. and they stuck there, and they they talk to their friends and stuff. But no, I don't really know, and I'm not really good at sourcing that stuff. So, any help would be.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, since so much of your original business was built off of the hospital staff, because the hospital in Danville, reaching out to Evangelical might be an easy point to start.
Okay.
Because you've already worked with those type of people, so connecting with, I'm sure they have some employee benefits or promoting mental well-being kind of thing.
Yeah.
So connecting with like the HR department there and start with that and see how you can create some sort of partnership with them for their employees might be a really good opportunity.
That's a great point. I had Geisinger actually reached out to me at one point and said, can you, and I developed a program for them because they had their surgeons and some of their residents and stuff that didn't have that they couldn't get all that stress out. They had this built up stress. So that was one program that I did develop for them. So that's a great idea.
I'm gonna go next if that's okay, and then I'll toss it on. But I'm pretty integrated in the Sunbury community, so I'd love to talk with you after the fact, and we can try to go through a whole bunch of resources. But one thing I would definitely recommend maybe is the like local occupational therapists, doctors, and and physical therapists, those type of folks that are like in the Sunbury area. They might be able to give referrals to you as well, because they're maybe going to be in touch with people on a daily basis and might be able to say, like, this person is a good person, a good fit for it to come to you. So.
Okay.
Drew, this is Megan back. I was
You texted me. I'll talk to you about it after.
Okay.
Yeah, so in a lot of ways it seems like you've already won. It seems like you're doing something that you enjoy, and for me it feels like just a matter of time. You just keep doing what you're going to do and you're going to be fine eventually, but you want to expedite the process, which is what I understand. So right away I thought about proximity, right? It's all within a 15-minute range. And then as soon as you brought up the Geisinger Hospital, and I thought, wow, how do you solve that problem?
Right.
But there's a lot of not far from you, right? Like the UPS guys. If you were to do like a morning, hey, this is the get your morning work in, get your stretches in before you have to go get on that big brown truck or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have to kind of figure out that routine. The other thing that really struck me with you is it feels like you're probably more of you get a lot of people working for you, under you, to kind of expedite the process. So that's probably a year down the road, but it looks like you're doing great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I am on Medicare, and I have Geisinger Gold, and I get a benefit that I could use for a service like yours. So you might want to connect with, I think it's Geisinger 65.
65
I think.
plus, yeah.
What is it?
Forward 65.
Forward 65,
yeah.
and they're over at the mall?
They've got 3 locations, so there's one at the mall, there's one in Milton on Route 405, and I believe there's one out closer between like Danville, Bloomsburg.
Yes, I don't know if that would be a good connection as well
Okay.
to check out.
I can listen to this back and write this stuff down.
We're taking notes.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys are gonna help you, so.
It feels like if you had dedicated times, like, hey, get your, we're doing these workouts, every day at, I don't know what time the guys get up to go to work, maybe 6:30 or something. I don't know what it can be. Or like for seniors, maybe it's in the afternoon or something. Like, hey, we're doing our Thursday senior workout, and it may start out small, but you have a big location, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It could grow big.
Yeah. And that's kind of my greater point in doing that stuff, especially for aging population and stuff and I work in occupational therapy. What happens if you fall on the floor? Silver sneakers isn't going to get you off the floor or out of the shower. It's just not, right? So functionally, being functionally sound and well is going to get you out of those difficult situations. I mean, I don't know how many stories I've heard. I was laying on the floor with no food for 4 days because I couldn't get off of the floor. Well, it's terrifying. I mean, it has to be terrifying.
You actually have you have two high rises right in Sunbury. I mean, you
Right
could
there.
really set up like a van, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of getting the word out, letting people know.
Drew, I
Sir.
had the privilege of meeting you, and I love your story. I think that something just came to me as you're talking, and we're talking about the older population. I would go hang out at every pickleball court you could find and hand out cards because my father-in-law,
Yeah.
he's always pulling something or straining something.
Yeah,
And he's not
yeah.
slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah.
There is a ton of people
Okay.
that could benefit from, and you could create a whole pickleball workout routine for this group. You get your 50 people in no time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. I would also suggest if you're looking to target the senior population, the local area agencies on aging oversee senior centers in this area,
Yeah.
and the people that are coming to the senior centers pretty much have an active lifestyle they're getting out. So that might be another target market
Okay.
for you that you could try to reach. And there's also offices for family practice and I think Sun Ortho and either Evan or Geisinger at the Susquehanna Mall. So
Okay.
you may just want to make a trip down there one day and
Yeah.
just introduce yourself and see if there might be services. And of course, family practice has, I think there's almost 40 locations in the Susquehanna Valley now.
Yeah.
But they might be looking for something for their employees as well. So those are other opportunities that are, you know, within a 15-minute, 20-minute drive for you.
Okay.
I know everybody's kind of like, you know, the older population, which I would agree, they need it, but we have lots of manufacturers in our area. And just thinking about this as an employee wellness program that you can do that would likely keep them from workers' comp. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in manufacturing that could easily injure someone. And so doing some sort of strength training as an employee wellness, maybe it's a program on site, you know, that they can do before they go into work, that sort of thing, might be an option.
Yeah, that's actually an OT scope thing. That's it's just called work hardening. Like when you have that repetitive job or like something, you know, Murphy can show up and, you know, Murphy's Law or whatever. Yeah. So like, if something can go wrong, it probably will. So just planning for that, you know, physically. But yeah, that's yeah, these are awesome ideas.
All right. I'm not sure if your target market is as much geared toward just the individual off the street as trying to hit some of these bigger groups. But I was browsing through your current Facebook and website, and just on a quick note, if you want to make a mental note, your website Facebook footer link doesn't go to an actual Facebook page. So it goes to a broken Facebook link.
Oh.
So just something for you to fix. But I also see that you are doing a good job utilizing things like Facebook Reels. One thing to note is that in their terms, they actually do say that if you have videos with watermarks from other places, it'll throttle the usage. So all the ones that are coming from TikTok, you might want to post just as standalone videos. But to bring that to the point, one thing that I think would benefit you for the average audience is you're really good at talking, you're really good at telling a story. Do a 15-second video of a certain exercise and why it benefits everybody. Do that a couple of times a week and put it on Facebook, because Facebook's going to hit your older crowd, and then start on Instagram for the younger people. The 18 to 35-year-olds aren't going to be finding you on Facebook like they would be on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's going to kind of cover all your bases and also give you something to stand out. So in 15 seconds, say this is the exercise and this is why, and this is what you're not going to get in Planet Fitness.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I try to do like an Instagram crossover. I just started a couple weeks ago probably, but it's just me talking, which
Okay.
obviously
I didn't see
don't
any
know how to
Instagram
shut
link
up. So.
on your website, so I didn't. Go
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah,
But,
and we're kind of in the process of just streamlining all that stuff because it was. I mean, I'm just not that guy, so I do have a lot of help.
Yeah.
And it's just getting everything, but that's a
Yeah,
good point.
if you're targeting the general population versus going in and trying to get these groups and everything, showing people what they're going to do and then telling them why that's going to make a difference, rather than just showing an exercise with no explanation.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I do have. Yeah, that's a great point. Doing the individual, I do try to talk about it a little bit. Oh.
Jason has a
Oh.
suggestion for you.
Hi. First of all, thanks for working with people with disabilities. I know that being disabled myself, that's an underserved population. I'm pretty buff, as you can see, so I don't need your services quite yet. But no, but I one of my thoughts and my background is in marketing, but one of my thoughts is to craft some things that you can leave behind, just individually, put something in their hand and make sure to include information about your location, because you're right. I think there is that 15-minute circle, but that circle gets bigger when you're doing specialized programming. So if they can see that your location is not too far because you're going to serve them better, then you can get them to stretch that a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And that's what you need in Sunbury, because you're 15 minutes from nothing, 20 minutes from everything. So that was my only suggestion, is to develop some printed materials or things like that. And then also the suggestion about doing TikTok and Facebook and Instagram is great, but it takes a long time. So you have to not get discouraged by that. Do it every single day. I have a dietitian that I work with, and she posts 6 times a day at my suggestion, and it took her about 30 days, but she's really gotten that traffic and has a very similar type of audience. And hers are all private pay. She doesn't have to worry about getting companies to refer people and things like that. So that social media is a great intro to a lot of people, but it takes time.
Okay. I like it. Thank you.
One final question here.
My last thought is, if you're looking to target athletes, you might want to consider reaching out to the athletic directors at the local universities at Susquehanna and Bucknell, also the local school districts, because if you have programs that you can tailor to their athletes, it might be an easier sell. And it sounds like you're willing to do that based on what their needs might be.
Yes. Yeah, I broke into the Danville district a little bit. That's where my boys go to school. And Shikellami's a tougher nut to crack. And I know some coaches that coach like field hockey and stuff at SU. So I do know some people, but that's something I need to go harder in some of the directions that I've been tiptoeing in. So yeah, no, I appreciate that.
All right, one more bonus.
Okay.
Sorry, just one more.
No, it's okay.
So I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yes.
I'm not sure how young you will go in terms of like training for children. But there's just like a huge market for things that parents can do with their kids,
right,
or for their kids, especially during the summer when school is out. I know, right, like I have my kids in gymnastics and swimming lessons, but they have so much energy, and they're at home jumping on my couches and just running around. And so I think, if you could develop something for kids where like you're teaching them how to, re-navigate that energy or how to like start that strength, I think that would be great. And then you've got kids started really young that then turn into middle schoolers who are interested in sports, and high schoolers and college athletes and so on and so forth. So.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I used to have a TOTS class, and that was the cutest thing you ever saw. But it was, it wasn't like they weren't doing the clean and jerk, but they were, they were moving their body. They like to jump around and, pick stuff up, and the moms would be right along with them. So yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. I appreciate that.
Well, once again, thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Good morning. I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Marianne. I met Marianne just kind of by happenstance when I happened to be visiting the Covation Center up in Williamsport, where she works full-time at the moment as their operations director. One of the things that I loved about my interactions with Marianne was that I could tell right off the bat that she was really passionate about helping people, especially in the education and the business sectors, but not just helping them run their business, but navigate change. Throughout our conversation, that was one of the things that she really talked about, was helping people get through change, whether it was pivoting their business during COVID or figuring out how to do education online, whatever it might be, that's what she has her passion for. So she's got education. She's got a bachelor's degree in marketing and communication. She's got a master's in computer and IT education. And she's also got some financial certifications. So she has a well-rounded base for all of what she does. I'll let her tell you more about it, but please join me in welcoming Marianne.
Good morning. Thank you, Natalie, for that fantastic introduction. I would like to bring you with me everywhere I go to present, to inflate my ego before I have a chance to talk to everybody. I will say it's great to see some familiar faces around the room. So I guess I'm just going to jump right in. Am I pushing the right button here? There we go. So my business kind of started accidentally. My husband and I refer to ourselves as accidental entrepreneurs. Up until about 2004, I had been working in the business sector, in accounting, finance, sales, just kind of trying out a lot of different opportunities. In 2004, I had been running an insurance agency, my own independent agency, and had my daughter, who's now 19, by the way. Can't believe how quickly that time has gone by. And just decided, at that time we had 3 little ones, and it was time for me to maybe focus a little bit more on having hours that are more compatible with little ones. Because, my thoughts were, I'm gonna have my own business. I'll be home, I'll be more accessible, except my clients needed me to be there when my family needed to be there as well. So when I closed my business down in 2004, I just kind of started doing some pro bono consulting just to kind of keep my brain sharp. Worked with everything from sole proprietors and startups to people kind of trying to do things that were a little more ambitious. It never even occurred to me that this was going to be something that I would want to be paid for until 2020. And I was sitting down working with a small nonprofit who was looking for assistance, kind of revising their business model to pivot, to work through the transition that his business was experiencing as a result of COVID. And so I handed him, kind of one of those little lean business plans and said, here's my suggestions, had a little presentation I shared with him with some bullet points. And he looked at it, he had one of his board members take a look at it, and they passed it back across the table to me and said, great, how much to implement these ideas? And my immediate response was like, well, that's not what I do. And then my light bulb was like, wait a minute, they want to pay me to do something that I really enjoy. And so I threw out a number, and they immediately accepted, which meant I threw out a really low number. So with that lesson learned, I just kind of started working the business, adding little clients here and there, doing little piecemeal consultations. And by the end of 2021, added on my first employee, who happens to be my daughter, to help me with some of the social media management that we were doing through the business. This year I also added, the end of 2022, I added a second employee part-time to help assist a specific client that was just very intense needs that I didn't have kind of the bandwidth to manage at that point. I've recently also hired a summer intern to pick up a little bit more for another client that needs a younger perspective on managing some things on social media. TikTok, for example. I don't want to have a client go viral for the wrong reasons. So we're getting a little bit of a younger perspective there. There's basically 4 main things that we do. We do course development. That comes from my background as an educator. It can be online courses, in-person courses, comprehensive overall curriculum design. We also do workshop design and development. We're not the ones that come in and present those workshops in that sector, but a sector that we've recently developed kind of along the same lines is corporate coaching. So we have businesses that we work with who have young people entering the workforce fresh out of college who are working in marketing or working in sales that aren't maybe getting some of those softer skills or a realistic concept of what it's like to work with older, more experienced individuals in the same profession. So we're working on, we have a small 3-tiered coaching program that we've developed, and businesses are bringing us in to do that, which I'll talk about in a second. That's one of the new opportunities that's kind of fallen into our laps. The other thing that we do is some social media marketing. So content development, creating the images, we'll do hashtag research, we'll even create the words that go along with it for them, posting, scheduling things for them and so forth, really just depending on what their needs are. We do, I did mention the private coaching, but we've also started to do a little bit of branding and marketing work, very, very basic, because we work with a lot of startups that are limited budgets that maybe don't have the marketing budget to go in and pay $3,000 for a minimal marketing package. So we don't promise miracles. We say, hey, we'll sit down and work with you and help you kind of come up with some branding basics. And we've also have some clients that we do marketing materials for. So brochures, help them with business card design, things like that. We've done the occasional website. It's something we're trying to phase out of because it is and I'll talk about this a little bit later, a non-preferred task of mine. It's very labor intense, and there's a lot of really fantastic businesses out there that I've encountered that this is their area of expertise, and they love it. So I'm happy to connect with those providers. Two big challenges, which actually right now I'm kind of have solved one of those, interestingly. Working through the process of having this presentation and putting it together and kind of making my thoughts coherent helped me kind of go, oh, light bulb went on, I've got my solution, along with something that fell into my lap over the weekend. So my two biggest challenges, time, which I know is kind of universal with small business owners, and then making the decision to either exit either my job or my business or expand my business. And so that's kind of they're both something that I love. So that was the second challenge. Opportunities for me, I have 3 new clients that are coming on. Contracts are signed and good to go. And actually one of those clients just added an additional contract, which is the equivalent of probably 6 months of work and revenue for me for the year. So that's really, really exciting, but it's also a little nerve-wracking. And I have a new collaborative relationship with an individual who I will be kind of outsourcing some work to for web design and other types of marketing services. So if I can kind of revisit, I'm a planner. It takes me a long time to make a decision. I do the pros and the cons, and I write lists, and I talk to people and ask, what do you think, and what are your suggestions? And even though I work with businesses and I tell them, you can't sit on us, you have to kind of make a decision and, consider your options and move on. I'm really good, like a lot of business advisors and coaches maybe, at giving advice that I know this is great advice, and I don't necessarily apply it to myself, right? So I sat down and wrote out, my thoughts. When it comes to the time challenge, I'm working right now, and I have been since 2021, about 80 hours a week, right? My husband is a service-disabled veteran, so I am kind of making up for his ability to be home, which is where he needs to be at the moment. So I don't begrudge that at all. So I'm trying to find a way to be able to compensate for that without working 80 hours a week. It's just not going to be sustainable for me. Yeah, so full-time job right now, full-time running my business. There's always something high priority going on, no matter how I stack things, whether it's through my employer or whether it's through my business. And there's just not enough time and energy for things that are important to me outside of work and gaining revenue. So my family, my friends, my children, other activities, self-care, expanding my business, I just kind of get in robot mode. So I also would like to have time to work towards some of my personal goals, which I had put, I was working on a PhD in advanced accounting. I've put that kind of to the side burner. And I would like to be able to move forward and advance on some of my personal goals as well. Scaling my business is something that I don't have time to do right now. If I have the option of a client who comes to me and says, hey, I want to contract with you to do X, Y, and Z, or I have the time to sit down, 4 or 5 hours extra time within the week, I tend to go with what is revenue coming in. So that is a challenge for me. Solutions that I've already implemented to kind of work through this. I've hired 2 employees, as I mentioned. I have an intern that actually is supposed to start in June. It sounds like maybe she's going to start in July, and she'll be with me for 8 to 10 weeks this summer. I have used apps. I have used AI to kind of get some automation in place and to optimize my task completion. And I've also taught my staff to use those options as well. I've stopped offering services that are time intensive and low profit. Or certainly services that are low interest for me, if I can outsource them and kind of work out something with another business collaborator. Hey, if you offer these services, we kind of throw each other bird dogs for those types of referrals. I have intentionally planned breaks from work and business. I have tried to make a point out of intentionally prioritizing those time blocks for other important things, family, friends, self-care. I've increased my prices, kind of figuring, all right, if my prices are super high, demand will go down, but we all know that's not always how it works. I've also added what I call an expedited fee to my services. So if I have a client that's like, I need this and I need it now, and depending on what the turnaround is, I say, okay, great, here's the fee. If they're gonna hand that fee to me, I go, okay, they're gonna be my priority for that time period. I've also added, when I sign new projects, I have extended, kind of over-exaggerated the length of time that I believe it'll take for me to complete that project. And it's not out of, under promise, over deliver. It's out of, I think I need this much time. The reality is I probably need this much, so let me add a little bit more onto the end there. And then I've also reduced hours that are dedicated to my pro bono and discounted work. That is something that's still really important to me. I do work with small nonprofits. I work with startups. I do so many hours within a year of donated work. I've actually reached my cap for this year, doing a website for a local nonprofit. And then I spend a week in the summer in August volunteering for PFU at Lycoming College. I'm a company advisor there. I've done that every summer since 2014, 2015. So those are the solutions I've implemented. The ones that I'm still kind of going back and forth on would be exiting my full-time job, finding a business partner, or hiring a full-time employee. Solutions I have rejected would be to postpone dramatically or turn down new paying contracts and clients, or to scale back my business. And actually, I want to amend, solutions in consideration. I have recently made the decision, after looking at the pros and cons. I have put in my notice and will be in July full-time with my business. Will not be kind of juggling those, both options.
We have until the close of our program. Questions, advice, ideas for Marianne, and then at the close, Candy will have a few notes for us.
Hi, Marianne.
Hi.
So one of my first, congratulations on quitting your job and going, yay you. You've got
Transition.
this. Yeah, you've got this. It's gonna be fantastic. Come on in. I would say that although I love that you do pro bono work for nonprofits, and I think that is very important and very impactful.
Yes.
I think what you might need to consider is, rather than spending individual time with nonprofits in the way that you're currently doing, create some coursework, create some standard things that you can, that is what you are giving them for free. And then you can spend a lot more time focusing on the paying clients. And that once they've done the things that they get for free, maybe then they return to you and be like, I've gotten lots of value out of this, I can pay you for the next level. But I feel like you're probably giving too much for free and not charging nearly enough.
Yeah, I give about, outside of the PFU, which is, I don't know if anybody has experience in that, but it's pretty intense week. I donate 20 hours a year in pro bono, and that was dedicated wholly to this one website. And I think that's a great suggestion about the courses, because it definitely is in my area of expertise. It's something that was recommended to me by a client as well, that I build that client's courses for them for a continuing education program. And
I think that what it also does is it puts another thing out there for you, that although it's specifically for nonprofits, other people will find value. It can be out there. Maybe, there's a promo code for nonprofits so that they get it for free, and then there's some low charge for everyone else.
Perfect. Great suggestion.
I'm in a similar situation as you, except I'm a lot older than you, and I have a 5-year plan to kind of cut back on my hours. And one of the things that I've been working on is converting a lot of my intellectual property into digital
Yes.
products that can be, can be earning me money
Yes.
while I sleep. So, I think that would be something that you should look at.
Excellent. Thank you.
So, a couple questions.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you would think of, so you mentioned about maybe hiring somebody or maybe a business partner. Both of those come with a lot of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So have you thought about hiring fractional people? So you know what I mean by that?
Yes. So I've investigated and kind of done a needs analysis of what I would want. I've thought about doing the fractional. I've investigated the cost of it. Where I am at this point, I really would want to bring somebody in that would be as committed to the business as I am, and it wouldn't be for little bits and pieces here and there. It really would be, I already have somebody that does social media. I already have somebody that manages like appointment setting and calls for clients. So this person would be kind of specialized, and hopefully somebody that can bring some of the same things to the table that I do. But with what I have kind of in motion now, I'm confident I'll have the time to sit down and examine that a little bit more closely, as well as do the planning and what needs to happen to move it forward. And I love the suggestions to create the digital content and so forth, because that's been coming to me from some of my clients as well. And it's like, well, I don't have the time. Like, I have the outlines written, I know what I want it to look like, I just actually have to do it. And that's where hopefully I've bought back some of my time.
Yeah, and I think some other thoughts about that, and I'd love to hear other people's thoughts, but like there's kind of a model, like, when to bring your first employee on. And while other people would say, like, I mean, sometimes that number can be like 500,000 until you get to $500,000 in revenue.
Right.
Bringing on a full-time employee can be really challenging. And I will say, like, you can find fractional people that are extremely dedicated to the cause. So I would give that at least maybe a financial perspective as well, whether or not you're really to that point.
Yeah, I'm not at $500,000 in revenue at this point.
Yeah, and so, and again, everybody has their tolerance, but, I think until you get to a certain point, like, that's a real number, like, until you get to, the other thing I was going to say is, I was going to ask you if the 3 clients in July, would you say those are ideal clients, or are those your ideal? Great.
Yes, and really it was kind of, I don't know if it was kind of a mindset shift as I was going through kind of planning out, measuring the pros and cons, but it when I say fell into my lap, literally I got a phone call out of the blue, one after the other. And they truly are, they found me, referred to me through word of mouth, and had nothing to do with any other contact or connection that I'd had with them. So that was pretty exciting.
And so how would you describe what it is they're asking you to do?
With the one in particular, I do coaching programs for his new marketing and sales employees, and I am now being asked to work with him on this extensive project to create a corporate-wide, and he's got a presence in 9 states, training program that can be part of onboarding. And so as we're going to create the overall program together, and then we're going to create, refine the program we've created for marketing, refine the program we've created for sales, and then we're going to kind of go into each of the different departments that his organization has and create a comprehensive program for that.
Gotcha. So would you say it's curriculum development and training?
Yes.
Gotcha. It's consistent across your 3 in July?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's important, because I just think, like, ideal client, really, it sounds like you're looking for people that want you to develop internal training programs to help their teams develop certain skills. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, got it, yeah.
Hello. Coming at this is kind of like a personal approach too, because we're kind of in the same boat here. We also do kind of a lot of the same services. And when it comes to employees, we don't plan on ever having employees, because there's a lot of benefits to being in the creative industry and the development industry for 1099 only employees. And one of the biggest benefits is you're not locking somebody down into your strategy. You're letting them go out and do work for possibly your competition. But the more work that those 1099 employees do, the better they're going to get, and you're going to find some of the best creative people and the best developers that you can find by not having employees. So, and we're going through that ourselves. Just a little 2 cents from what we learned over the last couple of years, and the people that we work best with are the ones that are 1099, and we have a lot of agencies that white glove us and to them, we're just 1099 agencies as well. So something to consider when you're looking at employees,
Definitely.
because then you have all the, the Medicare contributions and the payroll taxes and all that stuff. Healthcare, 401k contributions. Just 1099 everybody, and you're
Yeah.
going to find the best people possible.
Excellent.
So.
I'm just going to give one slight perspective change from when, like Mark shared about the 500,000, when to hire someone. The alternative to that is to consider, what does that person bring to the table, and is there a dollar value assigned to what, defines success? So you can look at it that way as well.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I have an ideal, consistent 6-month profit that I would need to bring in before I could go, okay, yes, I can confidently bring in somebody else for, full-time at this rate. And that's the biggest thing, is being able to compensate somebody fairly, or even bring in somebody on a contract basis. The employees that I have right now that are part-time are employees, but like I mentioned, the one is my daughter. She's very young. She works 10 hours a week. At a reasonable rate, but it's not what I would say a competitive rate would need to be to bring in somebody else, but she brings some really unique perspective because of her age. That's another reason I'm bringing on that summer intern as well.
Yeah. As I listened to your presentation, and you kind of left us in this building up to this cliffhanger, and my question all along was, what are you afraid of? And so congratulations on making the decision to go full time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's exciting but nerve-wracking, and one of the things that if I was going to speak about my decision process there, it's the pros and cons. I love what I do on one side, and I love what I do on the other, and I love the people that I work with, and I love the people that I work with, and the clients. So that's it was not a decision that was made easily, but it was probably about 6 months in the making. So again, I advise my clients, like, make a decision. What are you waiting for? Why are you letting fear hold you back? Fear should be the motivator. And I'm going, oh, probably should be taking my own advice. So it's validating to hear that echoed by somebody else, though.
That fear word is pretty powerful, and it does control us in ways. I had a great friend. I don't know where he got it from, but he always used fear as an acronym for false expectations appearing real. And I do fall back on that many times when I find myself just being overcome by something that's not even real.
Right.
And I've created it all in my own mind, so good stuff.
Thank you.
Last questions? Somebody, anybody?
Definitely a few other people in the room who have, or perhaps are maybe just a few months ahead in making a very similar decision.
Yeah.
Any final, at least, words of encouragement from all of you?
I'm not recent, but you won't regret it. I'm about 3 years now out of leaving my day job.
Awesome.
So I haven't had a hernia at this job like I have in the previous job, which is
That's good to know.
I feel like my employer evaluations will be really awesome. Top tier.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You won't look back.
Thank you.